Okay, I'm here at the Base of Secrets, Secret Base, a company here with Jackson Dang, also known as Canadian Joysticks.
Hello.
Yeah, we're just kind of here. We're here, shoot the breeze, see where you go. Yeah, Jackson, how long have you been living in Vancouver, Burnaby, or, yeah, this side of the world?
Pretty much all my life. Born and raised here in Vancouver.
Born and raised here in Vancouver, okay. And, I guess, where are your parents from?
Parents came from Vietnam and Hong Kong.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Do you speak any other tongue?
It's a bit of Cantonese, but it.
Oh, okay. So I guess, yeah, you grew up here and, yeah, basically lived all your life here. So how's it been? Like, how have things changed since, like, you were young, since to now?
Oh, that is a big question.
Oh, okay. Have you lived, like, so you're living in Burnaby right now?
Close abouts. I'm in smack dab in the middle between Burnaby and Richmond, so I'm right in the middle in Vancouver.
Oh, okay. And I guess you've been, like, living in this area all your life, or?
More or less, yeah.
Okay, and a lot of changes?
A lot changes. I remember. Okay, weather.
Okay.
So.
Really?
I remember as a kid.
Uh-huh.
You can see across the horizon very clearly.
Okay.
Pollution was not a thing.
You hear that? There's pollution in Vancouver, believe it or not.
So nowadays, on a clear sky day, you can see grayness, sort of a light fog in the distance.
Oh.
Back maybe 20 or so years ago, 25 plus years ago,
Uh-huh.
you can see across the horizon blue sky as if it was nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's like 20, 25 plus years of pollution, straight up.
Straight up 25 years of car pollution exhaust has caused air to not to be the same level as what you see in a daytime Hong Kong.
Ho! True.
It's like maybe 10% of that is what's happening here right now.
Which, it sounds good, because like, if you go outside, it still feels okay.
Yeah, go outside is pretty normal if you live your life here all this time. But I remember very vividly.
In comparison
Yes.
to how it was. Also, like, high rises everywhere.
Yeah, now you got high rises. Like, in the past, you can see this, you can see forever past, if you stand on top of, like, a high hill in one of the parks, you can see clear across Burnaby.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, now you just see, like...
You see Metro Town and you see Brentwood Mall.
The towers.
You see the towers there.
Brentwood Mall?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it depends where you are. And I hear they're building another high-rise in Metrotown, are they not? Concord?
Yeah, they're building more towers around Metro Town. I think they're making plans to convert it into a town square rather than a mall.
Metrotown into a town square?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The heart of Burnaby.
Yeah, like, as we do more online shopping, speaking of which, Canadian Joysticks is an online store.
Oh, yeah. What is it? What is the website?
www.canadianjoysticks.com. We sell arcade parts for home use.
For all your gaming needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have something broken, you can fix it too.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So come to Jackson for repairs and yeah, come check out.
Arcade sticks, fight sticks, buttons, what you need. I'll go look for it.
Boxing?
Hip boxes out of shoe boxes.
Oh, okay. Shoe boxes. Yeah. Well, it's taste of the homemade flavor. So weather for sure has changed over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can
Weather's,
see that.
Yeah, and also birds.
What do you mean by birds?
Well, maybe it's just me being around just kids, but birds were really afraid of humans.
As opposed to now?
As opposed to now, crows will walk up to you.
Like asking for food?
No, they're just not afraid.
Really?
Yeah, like...
I think I kind of knows that too, yeah.
Yeah, and when I was playing in the parks, playing with a soccer ball, birds are usually around, but when they see a human, they just instantly fly to a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now crows are so used to living here in Vancouver.
Even the crows.
Even the crows. Like, I see a crow pecking at food at whatever in the grass. I walk right by it. I am like no more than a foot away from it. It just looks at me and just goes right back to the food.
Oh my goodness. To like next to a human, right?
Yeah.
And you can imagine for like birds, it must be like generations on generations,
That's
right?
like, what, at least 10 generations of birds.
Yeah.
Even more.
And now they're just like not domesticated.
Not domesticated, just no longer fear humans as much.
Yeah. I don't know if because Vancouverites are friendly or they just don't care.
Well, there's just no humans don't go out and attack birds.
In this part of the world, yeah.
Yeah, even now, birds are not even afraid of cars.
Yeah, they go on the street looking for food.
Yeah, like roadkill or whatever it is.
Ew.
A bird will swoop down. If they see the road is relatively clear, they'll swoop down, come down, and then they'll notice the car coming. Then they'll start flying away.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. It's like their sense of danger is just
Their sense of danger is not there anymore.
yeah. Okay, so in terms of nature, the birds, anything else you've noticed in particular?
Well,
A
that's
lot
also
of
a
change.
reason why SkyTrain is kind of going under maintenance a lot more often.
Is it because of the roadkill?
No, it's because of birds.
What do you mean?
The nightly crew are cleaning out more birds' nests out of the SkyTrain tracks.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I remember there was a huge fire because of one or something.
Yeah, because they touched the third line.
Yeah. So bird nests
Bird-
in the tracks.
In the tracks.
of the local transit
Yes.
SkyTrain.
Yeah. The SkyTrain is over 30 years old.
Dude, really?
It came out. The SkyTrain was built in '86, or roughly around that time.
Oh yeah, around Expo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was part of the expo.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Okay. And it only had like one line back then.
Yeah.
That's the thing. How many lines do we have now? Like
3?
Evergreen, Millennium. Well, not enough.
No, it's not like a busy network or anything like that.
Not yet. But we'll see. Because you also have buses too, right?
Yeah.
So trains have changed. Trains. Transit.
Transit, no, it's more or less the same.
How about traffic?
About the same as well. Like,
Really?
well, roads are always busy. That's about it.
That's true, but like considering like how I would imagine like more people would drive by now.
Well, in terms of the actual routes, they're relatively the same, but
Mm-hmm.
the Broadway SkyTrain, the one at
Broadway commercial?
Broadway commercial, yeah, that one.
Yep.
That thing exploded.
What do you mean?
That place used to be relatively tiny. Like,
Really? Like
Like-
I guess 20 years ago.
yeah, like the number of people lining up for a bus there,
Uh-huh.
there's like 3 or 4 buses long now.
Oh, you mean for like the 99B line or,
Right?
or
For
the
any
9?
bus.
Oh. So that bus route goes along pretty
go-
much Broadway, right?
It goes along Broadway all the way down to like UBC or whatever.
And there are also some side routes that, from there, but the main one is like the
Yeah.
99 or 99, right?
Yeah, like, but way back, you can get on the bus pretty easily and get a seat.
Yep. That's true because the frequency has increased since then, right?
Yeah, but the volume of people taking that transit spot
Mhm.
is just exploded. Is way a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, I guess, working or going to school, especially.
Yeah.
Because, like, UBC is one of the biggest campuses, right?
Yeah, the commercial area has sort of exploded as a sort of a walking hipster hub, I guess.
Yeah, so you go on Commercial Drive. There's a lot of really interesting pubs and restaurants and
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I didn't know it was, like, how it was, like, before, but that's what it is now, right?
Yeah, commercial used to be a scary place, but now it's pretty gentrified.
Yeah, interesting way. That's interesting way of putting it. Yeah, okay. Have people changed? Yeah, I mean, from what you've noticed.
A lot more immigrants.
Right. So, from a previous podcast that I learned, instead of using the term melting pot, it's more of a mosaic, if you know what that means.
Yeah, like melting pot, I would see it as like people integrating into Canadian life, whereas a mosaic is just people adapting.
Okay. Whoa, we got a customer here.
Hello.
Yep.
I'm checking into Canadian Joysticks,
Oh, and where you should buy all your products.
and they even carry pads. Hey, Jackson, mind if I get a pad?
All right.
Okay, we'll just take a pause here to give our customer here a pad. Okay, sorry about that. We just had to lend out.
We hit the table.
Oh no, that's post production. Yeah, we just had to lend out a pad, and by that I mean like a PS4 DualShock.
Yeah.
Pad, because we're at Secret Base, which is a place where Jackson established, where local guys can just come in for a game.
It's a shared space, so on certain nights we just have a gathering of players just having fun, training.
Yeah, it's like a really cool place. I'm grateful for it. It means a lot for the community to be able to have a space to kind of gather. So yeah, thanks. We'll talk more about how we got into that, but going back to things you've noticed changing. Yeah, so Vancouver is like a cultural mosaic where you have many different, people of different backgrounds integrating, right? And you said that you've noticed more immigrants nowadays.
Yeah, like, well, a new younger generation is coming in, moving in, taking student life here, or just living life here in general, opening up a new business or just whatever.
A lot of younger people or younger generation or
Younger generation. Well, we can go on to a different thing. It's sidetrack a different thought I had.
Okay, well, what do you want to? Well, yeah, what was your idea?
Chinatown.
Oh, Chinatown.
Vancouver's historic Chinatown.
Ah, yeah, that's right. It's still there.
For now.
What's that supposed to mean? What do you think is gonna happen?
Well, speaking of the younger generation coming in, Chinatown used to be full of grandparents.
Okay.
The first generation immigrants who come here and became grandparents, and that community is there. But as we grow older, those grandparents pass away. So there's a lot of empty space and residences in Chinatown that are now gone because grandparents have passed away, and now the entire Chinatown area is gentrified.
Yeah, that's also what we talked about in previous podcasts. Is there's a lot of gentrification in that area.
Yeah, like all the hangouts that used to be there when I was a kid is now like upscale restaurants or cafes and whatnot, and coffee shops.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a term called Railtown. Is that Railtown? Have you heard of that? No, it's a bit off?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, if you go into the Chinatown area, it's not as lively as it used to be.
Yeah, there's no more foot traffic.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty desolate.
Yeah, like in any time of day, like there's this one block area of groceries and tea shops and whatnot, always busy. The butchers, like all the grandparents go out for the day, buy whatever they need, and go back. But now that they're all gone, like the entire place is just sort of upped and went.
There's no more, I guess, local Chinese community for it anymore.
No, they all moved.
They all moved. Where did they move to?
Richmond.
Ah, of course, yeah. Another hub, another community for, I guess, mainland Chinese or people from Hong Kong?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, so the Richmond area, maybe because it's close to the airport, it's like...
Interesting connection.
Yeah, a lot of the Asian people are living in that spot.
Right, yeah. I mean, you can see all local businesses, a lot of cash-only places, but...
like, there are at least 2-3 Asian malls there.
Yep. It's become the new hub.
Well, it's not really the new hub, but it's been moved over. Like, I've seen Aberdeen get remodeled, so that's a thing.
Do you know what Richmond was before, like, 20 years ago? Was it always, like, a hub for...
It's always been a hub for the Asian people, just that it kind of grew bigger as land got more developed.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that.
Yeah, like, the pricing for residents in Richmond was to the point where more people can move in.
Oh, as opposed to downtown, which is Chinatown.
Richmond used to be a commercial and warehouse area. But then when they started building residence and apartments there, people started flooding in.
Became prime real estate.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And now we're left with what Chinatown is now, right?
Yeah, and then Chinatown has sort of become deserted.
Yeah.
So what used to be a bustling tourist spot, it's now kind of like...
It's really...
East Hastings is encroaching the area.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like, as a kid, East Hastings was always there, and it's always kind of creepy. So, the juxtaposition of all the Asians and the East Hastings group, like, kind of having this one invisible border where people kind of intermingle but don't really cross.
Yeah, and even now that more of the Asian community has moved out from there, it's even more so, right?
Yeah, and then now the gentrification people are there. The hipsters.
Right.
And then the East
Chinatown?
Hastings... Yeah, in Chinatown. Are buffing heads against each other.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't even know that. That's the present state of affairs down there. Okay. Yeah,
Well,
Chinatown.
maybe. I don't know. This is what it appears to me.
Oh, okay. I mean, I haven't been down there in, like, I don't know, a couple months, but... Yeah, okay. No, Chinatown. I didn't even know what it was like back then, so...
Well, back then, like... you get parades and...
Really?
And celebrations there all the time.
But now, no, not
Not so
anymore.
much. Like, night market used to start out there.
Did it?
Yeah,
In
the
Chinatown
Night Market.
Chinatown, yeah.
Chinatown Night Market started out there.
And where is it now,
It's
Jackson?
still there, but it's become a lot smaller.
Oh,
Like-
there's still a night market there?
Yeah, but it's a much shorter time period now.
Oh, like maybe like a week as opposed to like months.
Well, it's still a couple months, but like you don't get a lot of visitors there anymore.
Because
like-
where's the most popular night market right now? Probably.
So in Richmond,
And guess what? There's 2 of them or 3.
too.
2 now, right?
Well, maybe one because the other one I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, the one by the river or whatever. Is that
The one behind the Home Depot by the Bridgeport.
Yeah, is that still there anymore?
I don't know.
But the one people go to is the one usually close to the casino, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the new hotness.
It is, yeah. And actually, there were I hear there were more night markets appearing. Like I think there's one in U.S. and one in Surrey or something.
Yeah, every local community has one. I think Kerrisdale has one.
Kerrisdale has a night market.
Something like that. I remember driving by once and then thinking, why is this road being closed? Oh, they're doing a night market thing.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
So
maybe, I guess. I don't visit Kerrisdale a lot.
either way, it's kind of out of the way. Yeah. So night markets. So night markets are like a form of, I guess, literally, it's a night market where people set up their vendors.
Set up vendors and whatnot. The one in Richmond is more business commercial, like people are trying to make money, whereas the other local ones are more like a community gathering.
Oh,
You know,
interesting.
So it's more like, hey, let's do something at night kind of thing.
Yeah, and like families or friends can meet up.
Yeah.
As opposed to commercializing, trying to sell your goods.
Yeah, like people go to a Richmond night market to eat dinner and just look at some stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the food was like awesome. It was fun, but how does the pricing compare to what it was like before compared to now?
Pricing in night market?
Oh, let's talk about the food. Yeah.
Well, cost of living here in Vancouver just went up.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Yeah, so you can usually judge the cost of living by looking at the gas prices.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
Yeah, so to timestamp this recording, gas prices are now like about $1.50.
Yep. Only gonna go up.
Yeah, I think maybe a third of that is due to taxes.
I heard that too.
Yep.
Remember when like 80 was high? That was only like 10 years ago.
Going back to my earlier thought, remember when I said about the weather and how everything was a clear blue sky?
Mm-hmm.
Gas prices back then were about 10, 15 cents.
10, 15 cents.
Yeah.
So it's gone up about 10 times.
Yeah.
In about 20 years.
Maybe 28 years.
It's gone up. It's 10 times.
Yeah.
And we still everyone still drives everywhere because it's kind of, would you say it's necessary to drive everywhere? How do you feel about transit?
Transit is not still to the point where you can reliably use it.
Yeah, it's still on a schedule.
Yeah, like the schedule is there, but it's the capacity.
Yeah,
There's not enough.
true. And, even though carpooling is an option, it's just nice to have your own vehicle, right? To go to where you want,
Yeah,
how you want to.
Yeah, because North America has a lot of space,
Yeah.
so roads are more spaced out and space is more put out in the distance, so that driving is more viable. But if you go to a place like Japan, where everything is way more compressed,
Yep.
you don't even need a car. Everything is within walking distance.
And the train there is super good.
Train is convenient.
Yeah. Fantastic.
If you know what you're doing, you can get from A to B very quickly.
Yeah, if you just master the train routes, over there, it's really, it's perfect for like their infrastructure, right? Because it's
Yeah.
built around it.
Yeah, and they build vertically
Yeah,
because they have to.
Yeah, that was always a culture shock to me. And when I go to Japan, was like, it's like, oh, there's a store here. Above, there's a different store, and there's a different store above it.
No, one documentary that I remember seeing is that because Japan railways are privatized.
Yep. JR and whatnot.
Yeah, so the railways have the right of way
The railways have the right of way.
in terms of construction. So,
Okay.
so if you want to create a new line or make adjustments, you have to build around the other guy.
Oh, and that seems like a really big struggle.
It's a big struggle, but also isn't sort of a. You have to get in creative with your building in your construction.
Uh-huh.
So there's this one line that goes straight through, but another line that needs to go underneath it.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Not even a line, just maybe a walkway.
Okay.
But because you can't cut through it and you can't go around it, you have to go underneath it.
And this is just for like the city or the prefecture.
Yeah, so to get from one station to the other station, because they have to get passed around this one line that's going straight through,
Right.
they have to build a walkway that goes through, underneath, and back up to the other station.
Just to accommodate, because like
But just because that line is privatized and you can't do anything about it.
yeah, you can't like go up to the guy and say, hey, can I do this? No, you gotta settle
Yeah.
this and everything, right? Oh, I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
whereas here, when Canada Line got built, several businesses got shut down because there's no car or foot traffic because of construction.
They got shut down.
Well, they shut down because there's no business.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't really a struggle for TransLink to, I guess, build over.
No, it's not. They could have built on top or built underneath. It didn't really matter. It's just that because construction was there, it prevented those commercial areas from getting business.
Oh, I see. Because of the construction.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at now, like some of the new ways that they built, like on the Evergreen, I think is that the airport one.
I think so. I'm not familiar with. I haven't taken transit in 10 years.
Well, okay. Well, there's a SkyTrain line that goes to the airport. Made a whole bunch of stations now.
Yeah, I remember there's a station that goes towards an outlet center now.
I think so. Yeah, it's like on the way to the airport.
Yeah.
Oh, there's traffic in business, right?
Yeah.
So it.
I actually went there for the first time over the Christmas holidays.
Oh, and it's been a while around since the Winter Olympics, I think.
Yeah, so that place is weird.
What do you mean, like the outlet center?
It is a very touristy location.
I have actually never been there. What do you mean? Could you describe it?
Well, the types of shops there are outlet centers,
Yeah. So
But-
like clothing or whatever.
but everything there is super expensive.
But so an outlet is a place where you send your products that don't sell or are mismade, right?
Yes, but there are people or companies that make products specifically for outlets.
But what? But is that not? It sounds kind of like counterintuitive.
No, it's just marketing.
Marketing.
They're using the word outlet to think it's cheap, but it's
Yeah.
not.
They get you to come there and to buy. Oh, that's clever in a way, right? For them.
Sneaky, that's what I would put it.
Yeah. So it's good to be self-aware. I mean,
If you know how things are made and where things come from,
Mm-hmm.
then you can understand why things are the way they are.
oh what? Oh, that's so. Oh, I'm disgusted by some practices.
Well, as a businessman for about 8-9 years now, you kind of learn things.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that. Canadian Joysticks. Your idea?
Well, it's me and my high school buddies, so we started doing this because, well, mainly me had a dream of owning an arcade.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, like, Vancouver has, like, the most amount of independent arcade owners here.
To this day?
Well, we lost some, but from what I can recall, we have right now, currently, we have at least 3 independent arcades.
Okay, let's talk about that in the next part because I feel like that's a really big slope we can tackle.
Yeah.
But let's go
But-
back to Canadian Joysticks. So it
Yes.
was your dream to own an arcade.
Yeah, so to become one of those independent arcade owners.
Okay. And then you just started selling parts, or you?
Well, for me, I wanted to buy an arcade cabinet.
Okay, and clearly you have,
Well,
Based on what I
for
see
the
here.
for the audio listeners, yes, I have a couple arcade cabinets here.
based on what I see. Yeah, there's quite a few. Okay.
Yeah, so it started out me just finding a source. No, not really me finding a source of parts. I started out because I wanted to play Street Fighter.
Okay. Street Fighter 2.
Well, a bit of history for myself then.
Okay. Yeah.
I grew up as an arcade rat.
Okay.
I lived and breathed in the arcades.
I don't know what that means for your physical health, but
It's all right as long as you stay away from the smoking section.
there we go. Exactly. So, yeah. So growing up in arcades, it made you kind of want to like, hey, I want to have one of these.
I want to have one of these things. So, I know my ways ins and outs of arcade machines and whatnot.
You know the hardware.
Yeah. So, 2009, Street Fighter 4 came out.
Yep.
I want to play Street Fighter 4.
Mhm.
And I play in the arcades. But,
Because we didn't have the console version.
well, console version wasn't out yet.
Right.
And we only had like a couple of Street Fighter 4 machines
In
Vancouver.
okay. In like was it in Richmond or?
At first, it was over in Metrotown. We had a couple cabs there, and then another set appeared over in Richmond.
Ah, okay.
But around that time, that's when everyone's a community of Street Fighter players started to like build up the 09ers.
Ah, yeah, the new blood, the new generation.
Yeah, the new generation of Street Fighter. Because like before then, I used to play a lot of Third Strike.
Yeah. 99, 97, I think.
Yeah. So, anyways, so when Street Fighter 4 came to the home market, I needed a fight stick.
Ah.
So, I looked up where I can get parts for fight sticks in Canada.
Okay. What did you find?
Nothing.
As expected of Vancouver.
The closest thing I could find of someone selling parts, arcade parts, for home use was Palladium.
Palladium?
Yes, Palladium.
They sold parts?
Yes, because Palladium has two kinds of businesses. They do contract equipment to. They lease out equipment to places.
Oh.
And they do their own repairs.
Palladium.
So, Palladium does their own arcade repairs.
Really?
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, maybe just tuning in, like, I don't know when you were born, but Palladium was a huge
Palladium's
arcade
huge.
center. It was a huge arcade center.
Palladium's like Round 1 or any of that sort of thing.
A place where that, tons of machines, places to sit, and I think order nachos.
It's one of the biggest arcade centers in Canada.
It was cool. It was awesome.
Yeah, they originally started out in Ontario, and then
Uh-huh.
they made a branch here in Metrotown. But because
Unfortunately.
no, the Palladium in Metrotown had potential. They had the space.
Yeah, they did. It was huge.
The unfortunate thing is that it got mismanaged.
Ah.
So they didn't maintain the equipment as well as they could.
Uh-huh.
So in the long term, much of the equipment broke down.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine
people
that.
who wanted to play the game couldn't play it, so they stopped coming.
And so the way they worked that is you bought time, right? Or you bought credits?
You bought credits or you bought time, either or.
And it was not super cheap.
It's relatively cheap compared to what else was around.
Really? I guess this was because I was like 10, but
Yeah, like
and I had no money, so
yeah, you never want to buy time, unless you're scheduled for something. You never want to buy time credits.
because it was just value just to buy the regular credits.
You know, and they time lock how fast you can swipe your cards.
Oh, was that so? You can't just swipe every machine and
Yeah,
okay, so
no,
the
they
way-
found out pretty quickly and they stopped it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because that would make sense. You just swipe everyone. Hey, everyone can play. So the way it worked was that you bought a card that you can load with either preloaded credits, or you can just buy like an hour playtime in
Yeah.
there, and the card would work. And you swipe every arcade game with a card, and that would let you play it. It would some would cost different credits and would take out of your preset, or if you had an hour, then it didn't matter.
Yeah, it will just lock you out for like maybe 2 minutes before you can swipe again.
And they had all kinds of games there.
Yeah, like a lot of they have a light gun game section, they have a
Yep.
simulation section, the deluxe cabs, and upstairs was the fighting game and pinball machines.
Yeah.
But they tried it, but it's a little too late. They tried to hold tournaments there.
Did they?
They held Initial D and DDR tournaments.
They had Initial D in there?
When Initial D was the hot thing.
Well, I mean, I didn't even know that it lasted that long to have Initial D, but
They had up to Initial D3.
okay. So
Their
Initial
stage.
D is like it's a driving game, a driving sim, drifting sim,
Arcade style.
arcade style drifting game on a car.
Yeah.
Based off the popular anime series. Yeah, okay, but I mean, unfortunately, it met its end due
Yeah.
to mismanagement and
Yeah, it's just that they couldn't maintain the machines and they didn't use the space effectively as a social gathering rather than just a place of like just come in, play, and get out kind of thing.
yeah, I felt like that was a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, like as a social space, it's like hold tournaments, hold events.
It would have been like the coolest place.
Yeah, as a public gathering place just to come.
Yeah.
But instead, they focus their business on private gatherings and private events.
Oh, like if you wanted to have like a birthday party or something.
Yeah,
or-
so they focused on birthday parties, business events, those sort of things. They even had a restaurant and bar upstairs.
I didn't. Oh, did they?
Yeah,
I didn't even TGI Fridays. No.
No, that was next door.
Oh, see that's when that was the thing.
Yeah,
They had a restaurant and bar.
Yeah, there was a bar. Yes.
That served alcohol.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but
okay, so like that's a kind of a comparison that I would kind of attribute to today's society. Is that actually I'm not sure because again I was just a kid back then. Community gatherings, offline as we say, like I mean in-person gatherings, right? Were those more I guess more prominent now they are today, or were they always a thing back then?
there was always a thing, just that you have to know where to find it. And I think I got sidetracked because I was busy explaining what it was, and we went over to Palladium for some
Yeah,
reason.
we'll cover that in the arcade section, arcade history.
No, it's like I was explaining how Canadian Joysticks got it
Yes.
started.
Anyways, so back to Canadian Joysticks. How got started? So you needed to find a stick, but you couldn't find parts for it in Vancouver.
In Canada in general.
In Canada, okay.
Like, you gotta remember, this is before Mad Catz and Markman made the TE.
Ah, the preset, the pre-made.
Yeah, before the audio people can't see this, but I have a giant hap stick behind me.
A hap stick?
The wooden North American style
Wooden.
Yes. The type you would play Marvel 2 with.
Okay. So. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's like
the MAS system stick, the MAS stick.
Did you have to build all that?
No, this was you contract someone to build it for you.
Contract, okay.
Well, like you would
Commission,
commission someone.
right?
It's like in the SRK forum days, you find someone who's willing to build one for you and ask them like, here's some money and some parts, and
they would send it to you. And that was how you built sticks back then.
Yeah, it was just a whole bunch of independent people just building for fun for people.
Was Hori not around doing stuff?
Yeah, Hori was around. They're still in Japan. I have a Hori PS1 stick.
Hori PS1.
Yes.
So they were around.
Hori has been making sticks since the NES.
Did they make the NES stick?
Yes.
Oh, they did.
Yes.
They were. Oh, okay. Wow. Holy moly. Hori.
Yeah.
Hori mori. Okay. So they've been around.
They've been around. They've been making sticks since forever, and the quality of Hori sticks is still good. The Hori stick I have for the PS1, I still love it.
Okay. But was it just like not an option to import the Hori sticks for whatever PS3 or Xbox? you were
Yeah,
using?
because like there's,
Or PC.
yeah, because internet shopping was still kind of fresh.
Really?
Well,
In 09?
in '09, not so
Oh,
much, but the general consensus was like, unless you're the new generation, like people were still kind of afraid of putting their personal information online.
Right. Yeah. Even to this day.
Yeah, to a degree, people are like more willing to use Facebook and whatever.
True, yeah. So it was hard to get your hands on any kind of equipment.
Yeah, unless you're willing to take the risk of going to like an eBay seller that you don't know who they're from.
Yeah, like some kind of guy on a forum online, then to take your money and do this.
Yeah, like you're already taking a big risk by going to an SRK forum and talking to a guy you've only just seen postings of for like a brief while.
Yep. Okay, so that kind of prompted you to...
Try to build my own. So buy my own parts. So I looked in the SRK forums, look at where people are getting their stuff from, and
Like sellers for parts?
yeah, sellers for parts, like an actual online store seller.
Okay.
And two names came up.
Uh-huh.
One was Lizard Lick,
Okay.
the other was Aki Shop.
Okay. Shout out to those guys if they're still around.
No, Lizard Lick is dead.
Okay.
So by the time I started, Lizard Lick was already dying or gone.
Okay.
And I think there was some like bad mojo happening at the end of its life. So
Oh, okay.
best less said than
Yeah.
good. But Lizard Lick was part of the old guard.
Okay, yeah. And the other one was Aki Shop?
Aki Shop. Aki Shop was relatively small and new at the time,
Right?
but they lived in Japan.
Oh, so you had to import.
So they speak English, and they had close links to SRK.
Shoryuken.com.
Yes. So
Is it shoryukenforums.com or shoryuken.com?
shoryuken.com/forums.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
But the forums are dead now. So another sign of the generation.
Yeah, interesting.
If you try to look for anything in the SRK forums, you have to go to the Wayback Machine or some sort of Google archive
Because it's just...
because it's dead.
There's no community there.
No, this that the server costs doesn't make sense for them anymore.
Okay, so everyone's just on Reddit now.
Yeah, Reddit is more or less everything.
Yeah, Reddit's all encompassing. Okay.
Reddit's our for new 4chan.
You heard it here, folks.
2chan. 4chan is different. Never mind.
Yeah, that's,
Forget I said anything.
it's a thing that exists.
I don't want to offend anybody.
No, it's okay. It's my podcast. We can say whatever you want. You can swear if you want. But anyways,
I try not to swear.
yeah, that's okay.
It's my personal motto.
Yeah, it's gonna be professional. Not that swearing isn't, but anyways.
No, I just been around kids a lot, so
Kids nowadays.
I babysit a lot of people, so it's like I learned not to swear.
Okay, yeah, so living by example. I respect it. So you had to find ways to get your own parts for your own stick.
Yeah, so I looked through the SRK forums, found Aki Shop, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Buy a few small things here and there. I was like, okay, cool. I got my own stick together.
Oh, you actually built it.
Yeah.
What did you do for? Okay, so an arcade stick is a stick that is used to play, I guess, video arcade style games
at home.
At home. It's literally consists of the joystick, which is like a ball on a kind of
So
stick.
it's basically four things.
Okay.
You have the joystick lever, the thing with the
lever.
ball or the bat or whatever thing that you hold to move around.
Usually for your left hand.
Usually for your left hand, but if you play cross-handed or whatever,
You can always change the configuration.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then you have the buttons.
The buttons that are used to actually execute the in-game functions.
The perform functions and do whatnot. Then you have the controller board,
Controller board.
which is the brain of the unit, the thing that you connect the buttons to and connect to the console.
Of choice, yeah, right.
Yes. And then last piece is the entire box itself, the thing that contains everything.
Yes, the actual... Like, you can't just have, like, a lever and buttons on, like, a piece of paper.
You
You could.
but it won't be reliable.
It wouldn't be super ergonomic or...
It'll be very flimsy.
Yeah, you could do it.
You can do it. I mean, people put it on a pillow.
I mean, clearly you've made hitboxes out of shoeboxes, so it's not impossible.
I advocated, like, cardboard is the entry level to maker.
Yeah, it's a really interesting...
Paper, cardboard. That is, like, the easiest material you can use and manipulate.
But for your first stick, you had a whole, like, plastic case, wooden case?
It was an old plastic case I had, and I just swapped parts in and out of it.
Oh, so it was an arcade stick to begin with?
It was an arcade stick to begin with, but I had to swap a controller board out and refresh the parts inside it.
And it worked.
And it worked.
Eureka.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of...
That was the beginning, and this was just before Mad Catz announced that they were getting their TE and SEs out for Street Fighter 4.
Tournament Edition and Standard Edition?
Standard Edition, yeah.
So Mad Catz started making their own arcade sticks. Centralized in North America? Or all over the world, I don't know.
Mad Catz is mainly North American focused.
So you didn't have to buy from Hori.
No, Hori didn't really bring anything over to North America.
Oh, okay, so it was inaccessible.
Very rarely would you find a Hori item
in North America.
Until now, anyways.
Yeah. I mean, internet's changed things a lot.
Yes.
But Mad Catz
Yes. So, Mad Catz has another interesting history of things changing.
Well, I mean, yes.
Because people...
At time of recording.
In the mass public audience, people know Mad Catz as the third-party controller that people hate to use.
Yep.
So you had, like, really weirdly ergonomic controllers or mushy buttons or things that would break too easily.
Yep, terrible game controller.
So it gained that reputation. But when Markman came in and created the standard and tournament edition arcade sticks for Street Fighter 4, that's where things became legitimate.
Yep.
Mad Catz took the time to use the same arcade parts in Japanese cabinets for the tournament editions.
Oh.
And that became the standard.
And I guess that's kind of like part of their boom, right?
And that was the reason why the Mad Catz became reliable.
Yeah. And, just from personal experience, they are, like, I have the tournament edition too, and that stick is fantastic.
Yeah, if you take good care of it, that thing will last forever.
Yep. Mine is still working to this day, to my knowledge. Yeah, it's a really good product, like, from Mad Catz, because I also had that stigma. I'm like, oh, I don't know, Mad Catz, but then the arcade stick from
like,
testimonials.
Yeah, like...
Fantastic.
The SE wasn't so hot, but it was still a really good case.
So you just... And at that point, I don't know, the Tournament Edition 1, was it easy for you to swap the parts manually, or it was still...
Manually, yes. If you're just swapping in the stick and buttons, yes, it was pretty easy.
Okay.
But because of the design decisions for the Tournament Edition 1, the original Tournament Edition, they have this plastic thing in the middle to keep the buttons and wires from moving around.
Oh.
But because of that, you have less space inside to do anything.
So it's hard to work with that little...
It's hard to modify if you wanted to, say, dual mod it.
So dual mod would be to use for multiple consoles?
Yeah, for using multiple consoles. So
that's the thing. So Mad Catz made arcade sticks, but they made it for separate consoles?
Yes, because of licensing.
So
if you want to make a PlayStation stick, it only works with PlayStation, and same with with Xbox.
It only worked on...
Yes.
To this day, is that still the case?
Yes, if you have that license, you can only do it that way.
Oh. So Hori is the same way then.
Yes, or even Hori's under that restriction or licensing.
Right.
It's because the Sony and Microsoft is
At each other's throats?
It's just business.
Yeah, fair enough. So Mad Catz. Yeah.
So Mad Catz, Tournament Edition 1 was really hard to modify because of the amount of space restriction you had inside. Hori, on the other hand, was not so easy getting into the stick, but once you're in, you have so much room to do whatever you want inside.
Oh, really? What do you mean? Was it not screwed in, or it had awkward places to open it, or it was just difficult?
The Hori Real Arcade Pro fight sticks.
Okay.
The Hori wraps.
The wraps, yeah.
Yes. The first couple generations, the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 versions. PlayStation 1 was the one I like. It's flat and you can't really modify it because it's just a simple stick. The PlayStation 2 generation, the Wrap 2s, you have to open up from the under plate to get at the top plate.
How difficult was that to manage?
Very difficult because the top plate is mounted by a nut and bolt.
Nuts and bolt. Well, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Good luck finding tools for that.
The bolt has no...
it has no head.
No head for you to do anything with, so you have to get at the nut underneath it.
How would... Okay.
So you have to use a wrench or some sort to get inside. And it's a really tight space.
Yeah. I mean, they really made it so that they did not want you tampering with it.
You can, but not without a lot of effort.
Not easily, anyways.
But once you're in, you have so much room inside to do whatever you want to it.
Okay, but that was back then with the Hori. Is it now like that too?
No, now it's pretty easy.
Nowadays. In 2017, 2018.
Yeah, nowadays with the new fight sticks, if you get the high-end sticks, it's really easy to get underneath the plate, do whatever you want, and close it up.
There we go. It was... People knew. So by the time the Mad Catz TE1s and SE1s came out, sticks became more readily available. Yeah, sticks became more readily available,
but not for really Canadians because of their dollar. It's more expensive, so...
it wasn't as economic to buy.
It's an investment. You're buying professional grade fight stick that you want to use to compete with.
Right.
Costs us almost as much as a console.
Yes.
I mean, even now it can still be.
Yeah, I heard the Wrap 4s are not cheap.
Wrap 4s are not cheap. The Vulix one that I have upstairs, that thing is costs the same as a PlayStation Pro.
Ooh, it's a good stick though.
It's a good stick, and it's really easy to get in and out of that thing too.
Oh, it is.
So yeah,
okay, yeah, because it's a modern high-end stick, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you make your own stick, you need those 4 components that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. So you need to get those 4 components, but in Canada, it's really hard to get any of those components. Well, outside of the case, anyways.
Yeah.
Case you can use whatever you want, but getting a controller board, if you're good with electronics, you can pad hack anything. So you can salvage something out of a old controller or whatnot.
Oh, like the PlayStation or Xbox controllers?
Yeah, so... but it's the arcade joystick lever and the buttons that you want.
Right, because that's kind of what makes your controls.
Yeah, if you want to get the same quality that they use in the arcade cabinets, you have to import them in.
Is that... Okay, and what is the case now? You have a supplier?
With me, yeah, I have suppliers out in Asia who can get stuff for me.
Okay.
So
Back to the business.
Yeah.
You just Canadian Joysticks just
yeah, like it started off as me buying stuff for myself,
right.
and then as the community here in Vancouver started to grow and wanted to get more parts, I started buying stuff for them.
Oh, so you have like these shady Craigslist deals?
No, just people came up to me and said, "Hey, can you get this stuff for me?" I was like, "Okay, sure." And then I went over to the same people I bought it from, like Aki Shop or wherever, and buy stuff, bring them in, and then when they got here, and people paid me for it.
Because you also have the expertise in actually installing these components as well, right?
Yeah, and then they asked me to install it, and I just show them how to do it or do it myself.
Because I would never want to tamper with that myself, even though the stick I have is easily tampered with. It was actually made to. But yeah, so I mean, it started off wanting for you to build your own, and that led to you kind of investigating and learning and researching how to do all this?
Yeah, and then because I was part of the arcade community, people wanted those parts too.
Yeah, because they know, like, hey, look at this awesome stick Jackson has.
Yeah, and then more people started buying stuff. I was like, hey, why don't we start a business here in Canada selling these parts? Because it's really hard to get these parts here in Canada.
To my knowledge, you're still like probably like the only guy I know who does this.
More or less, but now with Amazon and eBay and now
You
a lot
buy parts from them?
sources are sources.
Yeah.
But like Amazon is taking over the world.
Yeah, because you can buy a Rap 4s there, right?
Yeah, like full arcade 6 sold there. You just get there as well.
You can buy the end products, but it's kind of like from what I hear, it's like also the PC crowd. People are more focused on the end product rather than the actual components themselves.
Yeah.
So you might be able to buy a fully functional arcade stick, but let's say you want something better, or you want to be able to modify it, or you want to like fix it,
Or customize
or
it.
customize it, like that you can't just that kind of expertise I would never try myself. So that's where kind of I see how you come in. Like
Yeah.
you are the guy who also able to modify sticks,
Yeah.
and again, you also supply parts as well.
Yes. So people ask me for parts and ask me if you can install it for them. I'm like, sure. I'll even teach them how to do it.
Yeah, so it's like this kind of expertise. You cannot just like, you can buy the parts, but you cannot like necessarily use them like yourself, right? Unless you had someone.
Unless you have some knowledge yourself.
Exactly.
Or at least willing to go look up YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is a great resource for a lot of things, to say the least. Yeah, okay, so Canadian Joysticks.
Hope that people got that table hit.
Yeah, I mean, my experience hasn't been much of an issue in previous recordings. I've hit the table quite a lot, but yeah, Canadian Joysticks. It just came up from all that.
Yeah.
like you just said one day, let's start this.
Yeah, it's just like start buying parts for everybody and then
If you need something, go to CanadianJoysticks.com
yeah.
for all your parts needs. What about so I met you a long time ago, of course, with the scene, because you were also doing the streaming as well.
Streaming came about because when Kenny Lamb, Mr. Ryu,
We'll get him
what-
on the show one day.
when he started doing the Vancouver Street Battle in Richmond East Spot,
Okay.
the very first tournament was recorded offline. Streaming was still a new thing.
Yeah,
It's
back
not-
in 2010?
It's 2009, late 09.
Late 09, okay. At East Spot in Richmond.
Yes. So internet streaming was still a new technology.
It was just
Like-
kind of it was a baby,
Internet was still not fast enough or reliable enough.
right?
Capture cards are still expensive.
Yeah.
Processing power is still not there yet, unless you get like studio grade equipment.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. So they recorded offline.
So everything was recorded offline for the first event.
Mm-hmm.
But at the second event, no one was around. Like
Really?
I don't remember who was.
Was
doing
it a monthly or weekly or
It
like
was like a
every
month.
6 months?
It was a monthly-ish thing.
Okay, a monthly gathering.
Not really. It was sort of bi-monthly. I forget what was the cadence.
Right.
But at the second gathering event, the person who was doing recording was not there anymore.
It wasn't you at the time.
It was not me at the time. No,
Oh, okay.
I was just there as a volunteer
Right.
and participant, as
Right.
what most people are.
Yeah.
It's like I wanted to help the scene. I wanted to volunteer. I was a bracket runner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that. I heard stories.
Yeah. And then at the third event, I talked to Kenny. It's like,
Right.
hey, can I stream for you? Because I had some leftover equipment. I had invested in a little bit of capture card tech.
Right.
And I asked, like, hey, I can stream for you, or at the very least record the tournaments for you.
Mm-hmm.
And at the third event, that's where I started streaming.
So did that previous guy ever come back?
I don't know.
Do you know who it was?
I honestly don't remember.
It was quite.
If you're listening to this, I'm sorry.
Hopefully you can come back and get some games in. Hopefully you're not bearing any grudge.
But yeah, this is
Should be fine.
The inspiration for me to do live streaming came from Arcade Infinity,
Arcade Infinity.
Family Fun Arcade and Arcade Infinity when they were doing Third Strike.
Oh, that was.
This was before YouTube.
Yeah. Well, okay, wait. So how did they do that? Was it just like with a handy cam? No.
No, they had the capture equipment. They had camcorders.
They had camcorders.
Camcorders, and they took direct feed from a cabinet and
Oh.
recorded it into the camcorder.
Okay, and they recorded the video footage that was playing on.
And also recorded video footage of people and whatnot. But they were able to capture video directly from the arcade cabinet.
Is this kind of where capture card technology came?
More or less. People had to jerry-rig their own gear to make whatever work. I mean, arcade video is straight RGB video.
Right.
And that pure signal is more or less the same as a computer monitor.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Because I heard the boards are also like,
Yeah.
they're like PC motherboards, right?
Yeah, so you take that signal and convert that into a normal television signal, boom, you can capture it.
And it would display on both the arcade setup,
Yeah,
the
you-
screen,
yeah.
and whatever you're feeding it into, right?
Yeah, you're just splitting that signal.
So it seems like this is actually kind of like the origin of the capture card as well. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, so
Oh, interesting. That's a
So-
whole nother field.
before there was YouTube, the only way to get tournament footage
Right?
was from VHS tapes.
Uh-huh.
That
VHS tapes?
VHS tapes
that were made from?
camcorder footage of people looking over people's shoulders.
So you're watching people playing a game on a screen through a handycam
Yes.
footage.
Yeah, and the video recording you got from the VHS, a video cassette that you get, those giant bricks.
Yeah, the VHSs, yeah.
Like, every time you make a copy of it, the video quality degrades.
Right. So by the time it's
by the time
circulated-
you get it, it's maybe 4 or 5 generations old. So everything becomes kind of weird and blurry and washed out.
Yeah.
That's what we had to do to learn what the new tech was.
Before YouTube, before the internet was like,
Before there was a phrase, "Save it for the tournament."
Yep, exactly. And that literally...
If you want to win, you save that tech for the tournament. Save it for the finals.
Yeah, because, there could be those guys with the handy cams like, oh, what is this?
No, it's like, if you knew a way to consistently beat someone, you don't really want to prove it or show it to anyone. Like, it's like your trump card. You don't want to do it until you really need it.
Because back then, the spread of information was just, it was not as easy.
It was not as easy. So, you can write it down all you want in, text form. You're not going to be able to fully understand until you actually see it.
Until you experience it firsthand,
Yeah.
right. And again, so we've come a long way since then.
Yeah, so when, before there was YouTube and after the VHS generations,
Do those tapes still exist?
somewhere.
Do you have any?
No, Evo.
Evo...
Before it was Evo,
Okay.
it was Battle by the Bay.
Is that what the original one was called?
It was originally called Battle by the Bay.
And it was held...
and those first generation tapes were on VHS.
Really?
Yeah.
And okay, so Battle by the Bay was hosted in an arcade? Inside an arcade?
Inside an arcade in somewhere in San Fran, I think.
Right.
I might be getting my histories mixed up. But it was somewhere in California.
And they were all on VHS tapes.
They were all recorded on VHS tapes.
With handycams?
For player interviews and whatnot, but they were able to capture directly from the machine.
Ah. Okay. So going back to eSpot,
No wait, we're still.
Oh.
sorry, dude. We'll still go. I run a lot of tangents.
no, that's okay. That's what a conversation really goes by. Okay, yeah. So where were we?
So my inspiration for streaming.
Right. Okay.
So we had the VHS generation.
Uh huh.
Then we have this gap in the middle where when CDs and DVDs
Oh yeah.
were available,
Uh-huh.
but were still not quite there for people to record video onto reliably and then effectively.
Through some kind of recording device,
Even if you have a captured video on a PC,
right?
like transitioning it into a CD,
Or
video
DVD.
CD or a DVD was not easy because DVD writers were expensive.
Right.
Writable discs were expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a difficult thing in of itself.
Right.
And then, so in between that time, distro for those videos was still pretty hard. But in between 2005, 2006 to 2009,
Okay.
around the time before YouTube, I think YouTube was around, what, 07, 08?
Yeah, something around that. Maybe even 06.
Maybe. But before YouTube was a thing,
Yes.
uh,
Hard to believe that there was a time where it was not a thing,
yeah, people had to host those videos on their own website.
which cost
A lot of money.
to host your own website on the what is it like the bandwidth or whatever?
Yeah. Bandwidth prices were expensive.
Right.
Getting host name was expensive. This is maybe around the time GoDaddy was still kind of a new thing.
Yeah.
But getting a good name was not cheap.
Especially on
yeah.
on the internet.
And free websites like GeoCities and
Right.
Lycos or whatever, where they only give you like maybe 100 megs of space.
Ooh.
Like enough for like a small text web page with a couple of
Pictures.
Pictures.
Yeah. Not like let alone a video.
Yeah. So the videos for Third Strike, for Street Fighter 4, the very early years of those of pre 09 Street Fighter 4 generation, Family Fun Arcade and Arcade Infinity and the like hosted their own videos.
Really?
Yeah,
On their own websites.
on their own websites.
On their own money.
Yeah. And they had to stop doing it because it got really expensive. But
Right.
around that time, we got actual tournament footage that was easily reliable and distributable.
And the thing is about like, this tournament footage was far away. It was a place far away. Like it wasn't local at all. It was
No, this was out in California.
yeah. So like it was, quite a thing to see what players down there were doing.
Yeah, so you got footage from Rennick, from Pyro Lee, names that people don't even remember anymore.
No offense, but it's the truth.
That's where I learned from Gutex.
Really?
Gutex.
Third Strike.
Third Strike Gutex.
Yeah, the Blue Orion. Yeah, because I remember seeing a lot of those videos. They were like early make, right?
Yeah,
they
like
were the pioneers
they're-
of that.
yeah, like 3 Star and Iron Fist. Like those generation of players didn't come over during Street Fighter 4, and I don't even know where they are now.
Around, I imagine.
No, there was a documentary. Speaking of tangents, there was a documentary I think by esports whatever.
Okay.
Anyways, they made a documentary about one of the original fighters from Battle of the Bay
Okay.
and where he is now.
Do you remember who he was?
Oh God, I don't remember.
Was he the original legend?
He was one of the original champs.
Tomo?
Maybe I don't remember,
It's Tomo, probably.
but he was a monster at playing Super Turbo.
Yep, it was him.
Yeah,
Tomo.
maybe it was him.
Ohira Tomo, I think.
Maybe yeah.
No, I saw it on YouTube, and again, he was just the guy living in. He was like the youngest guy too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he was the guy to beat,
Yeah, he again, he was like pretty much undefeated, young guy.
and then he disappeared.
Yeah, he disappeared after he won the big one, and that documentary kind of tells you where he went and
Yeah.
where he is now.
He
Yeah.
went home and became a family man.
He actually did. Yeah, so you can check it on YouTube.
You'll post the link somewhere on the description somewhere.
If I'm not too lazy, but I probably will.
your bespoke show notes.
Yeah, exactly. Along
Thank
with
you,
all
Dave
links-
Lang.
Yes, thank you with all the with all the links in the description. Going back to what were we talking about again?
My inspiration for streaming.
Well, I mean, it led to one thing, and one.
I like my tangents.
No, that's fine. That's part of the show. Yeah, so it was like the earliest form of getting tournament footage because it was expensive to host it on your own websites, right?
Yeah.
And you'd be doing this for the community.